Assalamualaikum guys, welcome to another character breakdown for Dragon Ball Fighter Z, this time starring Vegeta Blue, my main character, one of my main characters at least. This is going to be a revision of Vegeta Blue, and also we'll be marking down the countdown of something which you'll find out after I've done with my team. Yeah, so without further ado, let's get into it. So following the usual template for our character breakdown, first we'll go through his specials, then proceeding into buttons and block strings, then into neutral, and then finishing off with assist. So Vegeta Blue is one of those characters who is ambidextrous in the sense that he shares all three of his specials both in the air and on the ground. So the first special is going to be the core circle forward attack button special, which is the super dash kick. The super dash kick is a Rekka, meaning Rekka is a term used in fighting games to denote a special move which can be changed into other follow-ups by the press of a button or other inputs. So so Vegeta Blue possesses a Rekka, and it has three variants naturally. First is the light variant, which is the lowest reaching variant. It has the lowest reach out of the three. Then the medium, then the EX. The EX being the best of both worlds, having both the reach and the speed. So the light follow-ups like keep you all grounded. Same for the EX follow-ups. With the EX follow-ups, with the second and the third follow-up for the EX, giving a side switch if you're not in the corner. I mean, even if you're in the corner, then if you do the second variant, then it'll get you to behind the opponent, and the last hit will get you away from the opponent, like if you do that. And if there is not a wall behind you, if there is a wall, then it will not go behind the opponent. And the medium variant, all of the variants have the property of like keeping you airborne, like every one of the variants will keep you airborne. That's the medium's caveat or strength, I guess. And this allows for Vegeta Blue to like capitalize on mix. Like this gives him inbuilt mix of like 50-50 and stuff like that. So that's the medium strength, but it comes at the cost of it being the slowest out of all of the variants. Like all of the variants start at like 18 to like 20 frames, and even though the ender variant is safe, which is true for all the variants, the ender of the Rekkas, no matter which of the variants, will always be safe. And of course you can mix and match. You can start with light, then go into the EX, go into the heavy variant, then finish it off with the light or medium of your choice. And that's the great part about it. So the only variant that is not true in a block string is the medium variants, but that's due to the fact that it will keep you airborne and will give you easy chance of mixes. That's why that's their, I guess, way of making it safe, or what you call that, giving him a compensation, I guess, for giving such a good mix. Yeah, that's about it for super dash kick. Now we'll be talking about the range. The light variant doesn't travel that much. It travels somewhere about like 30% of the screen, like 30 to 40% of the screen, 35% of the screen actually maximum. If you go to 40%, then it will just wave, and since there is a wall, it will not wave here. But other than that, like 30% is your best bet. Basically round start distance, just a bit far from round start distance. So yeah, that's about it. And then the medium variant will reach further, like from being able to reach from like about 50% of the screen confidently, and like extending to like somewhere about 60%, like if there's a wall to help your case. But without a wall, it's much more like 50% ish. So yeah, around 60% to 50%. I guess 60% you can take the maximum limit, the upper limit that if you like. And yeah. And then there's the EX variant, being the best of both worlds. Like it up close, it starts the same as the light variant, like at 12 frames. But as you go further and further, the startup increases, but it travels a massive almost 90% to like 80% of the screen. So yeah, it travels like a massive 80% to 90% of the screen, and with the wall to help you, then it will reach even further. But like normally without the wall, you'll be getting somewhere about an 80% mileage to like 85% mileage. So yeah, it's pretty good in that sense. And all of the variants are like -8 on block. The first and the medium and the mid variants. The ender variants are always -4 to 5, which makes them safe. But the starter variants are like -8, therefore making them unsafe to buttons, but like safe enough for DPs. So you'll have to be careful of that. And also, if you also have the option to like delay it as much as you want. Therefore, I mean, not as much as you want, there's a certain level of delay you can get, so that also opens up to DPs and reflex, so you gotta be careful for that. And the aerial variants also travel the same distance. There is not much of a as you can see, there is not much of range buff for the aerial variants, but like they travel a lot. And as I've said, the further you go, the more time it takes for the medium to reach, and it'll just shift. It just shifts back to the medium speed, like at 18 frames to like 17 frames. So yeah, that's about it. And on hit, like the light variant will like keep you grounded and will not give you any sort of smash animation or anything if you have something. But the medium variant will give you a really good smash animation, and like has a really good bounce, enough for you to be able to convert with a beam and stuff like that. So stuff like that can also be applied. And the EX ender will give you a huge wall bounce, which you're able to convert from anywhere in the screen. Actually, the EX ender gives you a huge wall bounce and also keeps you aerial, so like the conversion is a bit tricky. You can just super dash confirm it. That's the easiest variant, but you can get creative with it and do other conversions as well, like so conversions like exist, but like the easiest conversion that you'll get mid-screen is by keeping the mid part the heavy variant, and then it'll give you a really smooth wall bounce, which you're able to convert with a simple run up medium, and is the easiest one to convert from out of all the variants, mid-screen that is. And yeah, that's about everything I can say for the EX. Oh wait, the another aspect that I wanted to talk about is that the recovery for these moves are pretty low. Like all of the variants, like they're under like around 40 frames, which is like the lowest recovering lariat type move I think in the game. I think Bardock like is close to it, but like it's even lower than Vegeta. Just to give you a perspective, Vegeta's moves I think recover at 43 frames, and Vegeta Blue's one is like 41 frames. So the best way to like keep yourself safe or like to get yourself to reach full screen is to like always end it, always like try for the second variant, but always keep it light if you're doing it in neutral, because the light only adds like about 3 frames of like recovery, which is pretty good. Like normally it's 36 frame, and like if you do the light variant, then it's 39 frames to 40 frames. So like only giving you like 4 frames of like active frames, therefore like it's pretty safe in that sense. And so you'll be able to like easily recover. That's the that's the point that I wanted to make. And you're really safe here. But you can also just do one variant if you see that they're trying to dodge you. But to successfully able to like catch an opponent mid-screen, you'll always have to like rely on the second variant, and henceforth my recommendation is always cancel into the light variant. Even if they dodge it, you recover really early and they won't be able to punish you that easily. So yeah, and with that we are done with Super Dash Kick. We'll be moving on into the quarter circle back attack button variant, that is the on a scale of 1 to 10. Onto the quarter circle back attack button variant, that is the on a scale of 1 to 10 I'll give you a 3. So this has 3 variants, and it's a standing command grab. That means it's a standing command grab or an air command grab, whichever you want to prefer. Starts up at 20 frames, and will give you a sliding knockdown with decent amount of frames, like about 40 frames. Okay, 30 frames. Yeah, I thought so. It was pretty low. And the medium variant, if you still haven't used a smash animation, will give you a smash animation with a wall bounce on which you can convert in the corner only, in the corner. And this applies for both the air variant and the ground variant. There is no exception. And then the best of both worlds is the EX variant, starting up at 20 frames. and also has a massive reach. Like this move, this is probably VW's furthest reaching move in his arsenal, and will give you a huge wall bounce which you can convert from anywhere on the screen. The only caveat to this move is that it will not work on a crouching opponent, and henceforth it will not activate, and you are heavily negative on your opponent's face as well. Only the medium variant I feel like is a bit better than the other ones, because like it actually goes over, so they'll have to think about punishing you. But with the EX and the medium, you just literally stop on your opponent's face, like no matter. So and yeah, that's not really helpful, to be honest. And as I've said, as I was discussing the range, so we'll just cover the range over here. The medium variant will travel from about like 50% of the screen, I guess. I think I did the air variant. Yeah, so the medium variant will travel from about like 50% of the screen. Any further than that, okay, it does reach. Let's just chalk it up to 55 to 60%. And yeah, if you're like on the corner, then it will also like activate up because like it cannot travel anymore. So let's just keep it at 55 to 60%. And with the medium variant, is actually even though it travels greater than the light variant, but the caveat is that it will always travel upwards. Henceforth, like it's much more of an anti-air than it's grounded command grab, like the light version, even though they have no anti-air properties, so don't get your hopes up. So yeah, even though it'll reach from like about 60 to 70% of the screen, the caveat remains that it will only work on aerial opponents from like far away. And yeah, somewhere about like 80 to 75% of the screen is your bet. So like about 70%, and the EX variant travels the furthest from like standing level, like about, so it will travel from like about 80% and will give you a huge wall bounce. So when you do the move, for you to be able to convert, but the caveat is that you won't be able to finish the combo if you do the normal combo, so that's not really helping your case. But yeah, the moves also get a slight range buff, like when they're in the aerial version, I believe. So
on a scale of 1 to 10, on a scale of 1 to 10, on a scale of 1 to 10, on a scale of 1 to 10.
So the moves get a slight range buff with the aerial variants. The medium variant, I believe, like will be like able to reach from 75% of the screen. Although I think that's its maximum range from the ground as well. But the EX variant, I'm pretty sure, gets a huge range buff. Like it can reach from like almost full screen and like blazing fast. It's 22 frames from almost full screen. So good lord. Wait, it can reach from full screen, I think. Okay, no, it caps out at 90% of the screen, but yeah. And the other thing is that like, okay, so the EX variant and the medium variant have a tendency to like travel downwards when they're like when they're initiated in the air. Like both the EX and the medium show are really hard symptom of this. Like it'll really travel downwards. Like the medium variant more so than the EX variant. The EX variant travels much more horizontal than its medium counterpart, but like but the EX variant has a lot of range than its medium counterpart. So like you'll be able to catch much more. I mean, a lot of stray opponents. It does like work as a pretty good like grab them up like while they're in the air, and like it's much more in your favor because they have to either avoid it or challenge. And if you like play your cards correctly, then you'll be more likely a winner in the air interaction. So yeah, the EX variant is pretty good, and like as I've said before, you can only use them in combos like once. So like if you have used a smash animation, the EX variant will give you just EX, or medium variant will just give you a normal side knockdown. And if you've already used them in a combo or like started with it, then you're no longer able to end the combo with a command grab anymore. So that's also you also have to take care of that. And with that, yeah. Oh yeah, the other thing is The other thing is that all of the variants also travel through Ki Blast. Only Ki Blast, nothing else, because like they are only projectile invincible and not full invincible. So you have to understand that as well. And yeah, with that we'll end the on a scale of 1 to 10 variants. Then moving on to the last special, which is the quarter cycle for special button special. This is the Big Bang attack. The Big Bang attack is a pretty damn good attack, bro. Like it starts up at 9 frames and is acting from frame 1. From what I understand, like if it's active from frame 1, then it should be able to do a lot of things. And yeah, so it's active from frame 1, and it also now gives you plus frames if fully blocked. But the thing is, and like the aerial variant also will give you actually a greater plus frames if you do it correctly, like 7 frames, and like the ground variant will only give you 3 frames. So yeah. And the grounded version will like just travel horizontally, and the aerial version will travel diagonally downward like Cell or stuff like that. So it's not an instantaneous beam. So let's say if your opponent throws out a beam or a attack of your own, then like the thing is that it will not even leave your hand and it will just detonate on the spot. Like the entire part of it is like a projectile, and like it runs out if it clashes with another projectile. So it kinda is a bit like a defensive move from like projectiles and stuff, or like eating up their. So like it will eat up in any of their projectiles that they're throwing, but at the same time they can just vanish it if they want, I guess, or do other sort of reversals such as level 3 as well, because like you're kinda stuck there for the entire animation of it, unless the move like goes out of Vegeta's hand, and not even Vegeta's hand, since it's a special move it has to hit the opponent, then you can vanish out or do something. So you're it's a high risk high reward move kind of. But the great thing about it is that, as I've said before, it's like active frame 1. It can even like trade with vanish, which is I believe a frame 1 move. So but of course you need to have like a precision and stuff like that, and you're not really getting anything. It's just to show that it's like active from frame 1. And that's the advantage that you have like from countering super dashes and everything. Like it's a really good reactive tool, like if you like know how to do your neutral properly, and like even like on wave it can actually activate from now on. Even if you whiff your Ki Blast or anything, then you can just cancel out into not anything, only the Ki Blast. If you whiff your Ki Blast, then you can just cancel out into Big Bang. That's the new feature they've added. The other thing about it is that the Big Bang in a string is not a continuous move. So like there is a gap between it. So like between the startup and after the startup, there is like a moment where there is a gap in that. So if they keep mashing reflect, they can just reflect the other part of it. So unless they're airborne or something, they won't be able to reflect that. But that's why the meaty setup with Big Bangs or the plus frame doesn't really come into his advantage, because there's still a gap, and like it's still like fundamentally flawed to be used in a block string. That's why nobody uses the plus frame. You could occasionally use it for like meaty setups if they do uptake a lot, but other than that it's not really that useful. And with all of that, we'll end our special section. So moving on to buttons and block string, this is the aspect I'd say VW kind of suffers the most, I feel like, because his buttons are stubby as hell, my man. Like so we'll start with it. First off is the jab. The jab is probably the closest jab you can get. Like it has a reach of like about what 3% to 4% of the screen. Like it's the stubbiest jab among them all. Even like Krillin has a bigger jab than VW, I believe. So yeah, this like kinda is the challenging thing. The second variant is much more good. It's the same as base Vegeta. I wish like we had that same thing, you know. Why can't I get this jab? Why can't I get it as jab? And it has a really good reach, as you know, from base Vegeta, and like it's pretty good. Having a frame of -4. Also the jab is also -3, backdashable as well, therefore. And it also has a 4L back L follow up as well, which you can go into the full auto combo as well from that. And then there is the follow-up of like the full follow-up that gives you a huge bounce and into a full auto combo. Nothing really special about it. -4 safe as well, so you can smash it out as well to your heart's content, and it's pretty safe. So yeah. And then there's the crouching light, which is a low 12. It's got a decent range, like similar to his jab, I guess. So it's pretty good in that sense, good for challenging as well. I'd say this is much more challengeable, or like in a challenge situation, I'd say use it more than your jab. But the caveat is that it's 7 frames, so it's a bit slower. I mean, a frame slower than the jab, but it's much more better than the jab because it has a better reach than the jab. So yeah, my recommendation is like if you want to challenge, then challenge with the 2L more than the standing light. But yeah, situation calls for it, and you'll have to adapt to it as you see fit. And yeah, it also has a double 2L, just to be clear, and -4, so it's safe. Then moving on to the mediums. The mediums have been buffed up pretty good, and like Vegeta is almost able to reach from like launch start distance, like just a bit forward, and he'll be able to reach the opponent. And since like it can actually even beat Gogeta Blue, because not Gogeta Blue, Super Saiyan for Gogeta in terms of speed. So therefore, like if you not speed, like they actually reach the same at the same time, like at 10 frames to 11 frames. So you'll clash, and then the follow-up medium, the down medium, is actually faster than Super Saiyan for Gogeta. Then you get a guaranteed win. To be honest, a guaranteed win clash. So yeah, that's one thing you should note, I guess, or like to your advantage, that is. And as I said, the medium has like I'd say it's his further reaching button that is like safe. And with momentum you can get it to travel a lot, frankly speaking, like about 40 to 40%, about from 40% of the screen you're able to hit your opponent. So like it's pretty good in that instance as well. And Frieza's hitbox is a bit weird anyway, so he's not the best to show this because his guarding is a bit weird. And like yeah, so you can reach from like about 40%, and it's a pretty good button in that instance. Yeah, from about 45%, so damn, that's pretty good. You can actually you can buff it to 50%. Holy shimoly. Yeah, you can buff it to like 50% with the wall club, that is, I mean. In neutral, no, yeah, with the walls that you can get it to like around 50%, but like without the wall, best bet 40%. And yeah, then moving on to the down medium. The down medium has a pretty good reach as well, like being able to reach from almost round start, not round start distance, much lower than round start, not the same as the standing medium, like from like about, what do you call that, 30% of the screen. Yeah, around like 30% of the screen, or 20%, 25%. Okay, no, 20%. Yeah, from around 20%. It also like can travel pretty good. So like I mean the momentum thing that you get, so like it has the momentum thing as well. Up close it's like -5 now. Before it was actually unsafe, like at around 6 or 7. It starts up at 10 frames, pretty lightning fast as well. So you can also use it for mix, because it has got like a decent amount of reach. Or not. But yeah, you got the 2L anyway, so you don't need to worry that much. You're able to use it in mix, and like because it's 10 frames and mix worthy, that is mix worthy. And I forgot to mention the okay, yeah, that's safe as well, starts up at 9 frames. So yeah, those are pretty good buttons, pretty decent as well. And with momentum you get a like range buff to like about 50% of the screen, I guess. No, not 50%, 45% of the screen, right? Yeah, around 45% of the screen, but best bet is 40%. So yeah, with that we'll just segue into the heavy. The heavy is I guess the biggest button the VW has, the biggest reach, I mean. It has a really massive hitbox as well. You're even able to like counter super dash with it as well, because of like the active frames and everything. Like it's really big. Of course the horizontal ones, and like this is active for a long time. You're able to like, yeah, it's got a decent enough of like range, but like it takes a bit time to like start up and stuff. So like if you almost have to do it preemptively, and see you can like get caught in situations like that. It's kind of the slower side for a heavy, that is. Like it needs a bit of time. It starts up at 14 frames, like almost the same as his Rekka. It's actually slower than his Rekka, but it can be a part of a tool blockstring. You don't have to worry about it since it's 14 frames, barely part of a tool blockstring, that is. And then it's a -10 as well, so unsafe as hell. And then there is a heavy button, the down heavy. It's pretty fast, 13 frames. 13 frames, I think it's pretty standard actually. And -14. It also has like a kind of a double thing going on, like it actually will give you a hit stop there. Then if you just wait a bit, then you can actually be airborne as well. So like you can actually keep your to some extent like your airborne properties. So, and it's part of a true blockchain, you don't have to worry about that. But it's much more harder now because they've changed the hit stop to a bit different. Like VW gets airborne, it takes a bit of time to get airborne, and henceforth there's a gap and they'll be able to 2H or reflect, which is not good. Like I could do like some sort of safe mixes back then, but now this gets even weirder. But yeah, he has that. And then the air buttons aren't that like special, like it's a standard knee, like same as Super Sun for Vegeta. Doesn't have that much hitbox, I'd say. But like it's fast and everything. So if you have like really good reflexes, then you might be able to catch people. But I mean the hitbox is pretty good. Like it has a good girthy downward hitbox, and like you can use it for mix and everything. So in that instance, it's not that bad, but doesn't have the greatest horizontal reach, that is. And it's pretty fast at 6 frames and stuff like that. So yeah. The start button, I'd say, is the air medium. It has a pretty good range from like about 10% of the screen, which is like a really huge thing for a standing medium. Jumping medium, and it's able to cross up from like point blank as well. So yeah, it's and with the medium buff range, you can even like make it a part of a full block string, or like you can get an instant cross up or like a point blank cross up now with Vegeta Blue because of the buff to his range in the standing medium and everything. And it's a go-to button in your air, to be honest. Like if you want to challenge something, then always go for the medium. Like it's got a decent range and everything, but sometimes the range doesn't exactly work to your favor because like his jumping down heavy is actually pretty vertical than horizontal, and you'll not able to reach it. So yeah, and that's a kind of an issue. So you're gonna have to be godlike in your reactions like that. And yeah, if you're godlike enough, then you'll be able to convert in using your Rekkas, I mean. And the down heavy is pretty standard, like it's just the cream of the crop down heavy, nothing more special about it. Got a decent enough of like hitbox, but nothing much more special. If you do a super jump, then IID heavy, then you'll get a immediate setup in the corner after the command grab knockdown. And the down heavy is the Vegeta Blue special. He has every Vegetas have this, and like it's got a decent amount of like travel and everything, and keeps you airborne for a long time with like minimal amount of recovery, the same as like a medium button. So like yeah, it's pretty good in that sense, and you get a lot of air. The air options, I mean, and you know the drill. If you've seen high-tech gameplay, then you know how strong that can be. And it's got a like sort of a downward hitbox as well, and like it will just suck you into it. And yeah, with that, I'll just now show you some of the true block strings. That's a full true block string, even like that's also safe as well, just to be clear. And the other thing is that if you just wait just a bit, then you can even get the aerial option as well. But it's a kind of a tight timing, and like if you wait too much, then you might get 2H and like even like to reflect as well. So like be careful, it gets you like unsafe, hella unsafe. And yeah, it's just a thing to be worried about. And then, and as I said before, the EX variant will be true, and the medium variant definitely not true. And you can also do something along the lines like that, and that's fully true. So yeah, and then there's the anti-reflex string as well. I mean, that's the anti-reflex string. I mean, not that anti-reflect, but you get it. The actual anti-reflect would be the doing the heavy afterwards. That's the actual anti-reflect, or like doing something like that, something like that along the lines. And you can also cancel out into the. That's a full true block string, and the safest block string, I guess. The key blast allows you to play a lot of mind games because the key blasts are also safe as well. The standing key blast only -5 safe, and the downward key blast is actually -3. That means backdashable as well. So yeah, the key blast allows you to like play a really good mind game by just stopping your pressure and then continuing it again, and then extending it with a record or something like that. So yeah, you have a lot of options there, and that's about it. That's about everything I've got for Vegeta's buttons and blocks. So moving on to neutral. Neutral is, I'd say, the best part about Blue Vegeta, and I'd say he's one of the best zoners in the game. But that's my opinion, and I've played with this character long enough that I think that he's one of the best zoners in the game. But people are definitely inclined to disagree because I don't really know why. I don't know if they have like a really solid argument for why Vegeta Blue's neutral is bad. But I think his neutral is one of the best in the game, and like I think he's definitely up there in terms of neutral. So like the best thing about it is the key blast. For, as I've said before, in the buttons and block string section, the block string mainly, like his neutral, the key blasts are pretty safe, and like their up close they're -5 and -3 respectively. That's just the normal key blast and then the down key blast. And then the new thing that got added to him is that like the down key blast, like the down key blast in the air now reserves any momentum, and it does not have a weird sort of weird sort of stop like the normal key blast. The down key blast like reserves all sort of momentum. And the other thing that they changed is that like the key blast even on whiff can be cancelled into either the Big Bang or the level 3. So like that's also ups his neutral game, and like you cannot super dash him. You cannot super dash a really good Blue Vegeta player that has got good reaction mindlessly. Like even if you try to do an EX move as well, you can get caught into it by like because he's level 3 or like he did a Big Bang attack. So yeah, and like the Big Bang attack is like a vacuum. It will suck out any sort of super dash and everything. So like super dashing at Blue Vegeta like in when he's in the air or even when he's in the ground is like a huge no. As I've said before, like the move is actually Big Bang is actually what you call that not invul, like starts up at frame 1. So like even if they try to super dash, it's your like go-to move to like anti-air them on. I mean, yeah, you could say it's an anti-air because like even if they do something like let's say Blue Goku doing his shoulder tackle, even that it can also be like also be tackled. So in that sense, it's like a vacuum, like, and they'll be like really sorry if they like try to challenge you haphazardly, and you have the upper hand in terms of neutral. And then there is the famous thing that you can do just by spamming the key blast like this. And I should have like included this in the special section, but like Niagara Pummel can also be like a special of sorts of, like it's a grounded move, and like after the key blast now he can also convert like by doing that. And the special thing about it is that, as you can see, you can like cancel by just holding down a button or like the Dragon Rush button. And if you hold down the Dragon Rush button, then it will give you a like huge wall bounce which you can convert. If you like use up your smash animation, then he'll just like throw them out spinning, and you can only convert using a super dash, which you could actually not do like in the earlier patches, but now you can do that as well. So like super dashing at Blue Vegeta is like the absolute worst thing that you could do. Like there's like a ton of options for Blue Vegeta to like counter you, and like the Niagara Pummel does have an invul, but it starts up really late, like later than 4 frames, so like you won't be able to use it to escape like situations like meaty setup or like after vanish. but like it has enough involved to be like able to like catch a super dash or like even vanish as well. So yeah, in that sense you could also use the Niagara Pumble as well, then convert it using a normal combo. And then the on a scale of 1 to 3 is also like a field blast invincibility as well, so you could like easily zap the distance really quickly. The advantage lies on your hand when you're playing neutral, and as I've said before, he's also another thing about the Ki Blast is that they cover really good angles, like from jump height, from like super jump height you get a like Ki Blast that like that you can zone out with if opponent is like away from a full screen, like it reaches a opponent full screen from super jump height as you want, like even jump height as well. So like it's a pretty good. Then if the super jump float, that can also be thwarted because like your downward Ki Blast from full screen can also reach super jump. I mean not super jump exactly, but something along that line. And like if you jump up and then do that move, then it's easily catch a super jump. And like so in that instance like you're pretty good as well. So like that's why people like up back, I mean ID back and then just keep doing that, because like this way you can like catch any sort of like the floaters, I mean, or like so, and you can just close the distance with either of the moves. Moveset is not the best to like catch people, I guess, but you can definitely make work of it. And yeah, and with that I'll be ending the Blue Vegeta neutral section. So moving on to the assist part about Blue Vegeta is the most underrated thing I've ever seen. Like every Twitter user says that Blue Vegeta's assist collections are trash and like Big Bang Attack is trash. I'm like, whatever you guys are talking about, well, whatever. Like first of all, first assist is the A assist, the Big Bang Attack. The Big Bang Attack starts up pretty slow, like it actually reaches the opponent at 69 frames, nice. And it also has a ton of block stun, like 45 frames of block stun. But yeah, the only bad part about it is that like it starts up very late, and therefore like you have to get used to it like pretty well to like be able to incorporate it in a true block string and everything. Otherwise the opponent can actually easily mash reflect and then they'll not be able to, I mean not be able to like what do you call that, be incorporated in a true block string. But other than that, like it's pretty damn good. Like after, so like I had enough time to run up and do a cross up with him, and like for my team, like Algohan like benefits from it a lot. Like because like I can just incorporate the, so like that I can also incorporate the move, and like I get a ton of block stun. Plus like they also like it's also a really good thing to like just keep them guessing, and like since it's such a slow assist, most of the assists aren't that slow, and therefore it will also mess up the timing if they keep reflecting. And the other good thing about it is that the assist is that like it has got a huge amount of grid stun, like 85 frames. You guys would thought that Vegeta assist had like a lot of frames to convert. Here comes Vegeta Blue. I can even run up and do a 2H confirm with his assist. It's so good. And like in the corner they also are like stuck, like they cannot vanish out or do something like that if you call the assist as well. So like it's a like no-brainer punish if they try to like vanish out or something. It's a really good defensive assist as well, or like to keep them guessing and something like that. But yeah, and with that we'll move on to the B assist. So the B assist is the Infinity Breaker. It's underground assist, pretty fast. It's like the Super Dash assist, you know, the Super Dash and like this assist. And like it has a 29 frames of block stun, like a beam, and it doesn't travel that much. Oh wow, it actually travels a lot. Never mind. The assist travels somewhere about like a bit from round start distance, I guess. So the assist travels to around like 30 to 40% of the screen, and like it's a decent assist, and like it's pretty fast. Like so, for the players that like to keep their things faster, like it works for them. And then on hit, it will give you a huge bounce, and like you get around 75 frames to convert, same as Vegeta assist. So like that's also another plus point, I guess. But I'm not a really huge fan of it because like first of all, the assist does not have a really good hitbox. It's easy to avoid, and like it's grounded, doesn't even travel that much. like it's the same as like a lot of B assists. Like it's like so like close. Like I guess the only use for that is like doing the super dash shenanigans and stuff like that. But like for my team, it's definitely not the assist, and yeah, it's decent I guess. And like for combo conversions and etc. It's very good. Like I guess for combos and stuff, it's definitely one of the assists to go for, since it will always give you such a huge bounce. My bad, it's too damn fast, bro. So yeah, in that instance, I guess you could use that. Yeah, I could just run under and do other stuff. So yeah, if it suits your needs, then yeah, go for it, I guess. On to everybody's favorite is the C assist. The C assist is just a horizontal assist, like it's a blockstun assist, and will give you 55 frames of blockstun, 10 more frames than the A assist. It's pretty fast as well. So like in that instance, like it's got a thing above A, and it'll track your opponent horizontally. Not. So yeah, I mean it's decent I guess, but like it's a horizontal assist, and like of course if you catch someone off guard, then you'll get a like full combo conversions. Of course that's the stick, but like I don't know, bro. I mean like considering how much like you have to suffer for it, like considering the recovery for it, I really don't think it's that good assist. But like definitely the startup and having a huge amount of blockstun definitely helps. But yeah, I think the A assist is still the best, and like with Gohan as well, like I can. And with Gohan, due to the huge amount of hitstun, I can even like power up and get a sliding button as well. Oh, I can do it with the C assist as well, but like again, considering how much time I'd like spend like getting that assist back, and considering how long it'll take an A assist to come back, I think we can all see where the benefit lies here. So yeah, things like that can also be easy with the A assist as well. Therefore, A assist is for me. But like if you guys, the Blue Vegeta players want to change it up, or like your playstyle is much more coherent toward the B or C assist, then yes, go for it. So with that, I'll conclude the Blue Vegeta revision, character breakdown revision that is. And hopefully you guys learned something, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like, and thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for your time. I'll see you in the next one, I'll see you in the next character breakdown, and enjoy the comment section. Allah Hafiz, Assalamu alaikum.